Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for watching. My name is Kyle Broda with FullSkillsExamPrep.com, and this is your third sample question on our lesson series on the Immigrant Investor Venture Capital Pilot Program. As you know, the reason that we go over questions, of course, is just in order to relate those IIVC requirements with potential questions that could pop up on your ICCRC Full Skills Exam. That way, of course, you'll know how to handle these if they come up. Remember that the program has been extended. This means that we are well after the 90-day cutoff, which means, again, that potentially this could be a topic to go onto your exam. As we said in the previous videos as well, this is a really great topic just because it's pretty small. So if you just watch these videos, really, you'll maybe become a master in this topic. But of course you need to read further as well. So take a look at these links here, and this will really round out your knowledge in this area. So if a question on this pops up in the exam, of course you'll be ready to go. If you're following along with your test day data book, just take a look at page 30. Remember, it's also important to individualize your book. So if you have anything that you have a little bit of difficulty remembering, that's not a problem. Just write in your test day data book, but we have the essentials covered in there for you already. If you're following along with the exam on this topic, for the actual exam. Also, if you're taking the seminar, this question, well, this type of question will pop up in the seminar as well. Okay, so as we saw before, we have those 4 big requirements in this topic, and we'll go over another example of a question, of course, just to take a look at some potentially tricky areas to cover in this. So remember, in that second question, we talked about the net worth. And in the first question, we talked about a potential inheritance scenario. And in this question, of course, we'll test out something different. Okay, so let's move on to your question of the day. You have John over here. So John comes to your office because he read that the Immigrant Investor Venture Capital Program will be extended until the end of 2015. He explains that he would like to explore this option with an RCIC because he has a net worth of $14 million and would like to move to Canada as soon as possible and start a business in environmental protection. In looking at his information, you notice that he has a college diploma in computer programming, an IELTS score of band 5 in everything, and made his fortune in developing software. He has invested in a few funds and feels that the IIVC percentage of interest, though small, will be a nice way to supplement his new life in Canada. Which of the following statements would you tell John are true? So we have A, John does not meet the requirements of the IIVC program. We have B, John does not meet the language requirements of the IIVC. We have C, his $2 million investment is not guaranteed to make a profit. And we have D, he does not have experience in the business he'll create in Canada, so his application will not be accepted under the IIVC. As always, if you'd like to take a minute and pause the video to read through this question thoroughly, you go right ahead. All right, you might find that you know the answer already, and as always, if you think that you found out the answer already, good for you. That really means that you're on the right path. Of course, page 30 of your test day data book can help you out with this as well. And as always, what you're really doing in these situations is taking a look at the important parts of the scenario. So let's take a look over here. We did talk about, through that scenario, we talked about the education of this person, his intent, language, net worth, and also talked about the IIVC investment itself. So as we can see over here, we have that net worth of $14 million. We can see that he made his fortune in developing software, so it is legally obtained, not inherited, etc. You always need to remember to take a look at the person's intent. Part of those IIVC requirements, again, are with regard to language and with regard to education as well. So you can see that we talked about, or the scenario talked about that already. So when we see the whole scenario again with the question and with the answers, of course, what we're going to do is just take a look, as we always do. We'll go through each answer thoroughly, just again so we can see the way that your mind should work when you're looking at a question like this in your real ICCRC Full Skills Exam. All right, let's take a look at A. So John does not meet the requirements of the IIVC program. When we looked at those important parts of the scenario, you could see that he does meet all of those requirements. He does have that $10 million net worth. You can see he exceeds that quite a bit. He's got 14. You can see that $2 million investment as well. So it seems that he's interested in that $2 million investment as well and capable to do it. His language score is okay. And his education, of course, matches the requirements as well. So in this one here, that's a pretty easy question to take a look at and to know the answer to. All right, so we know that that one is incorrect. In fact, he probably does meet the requirements of the IIVC program. Okay, let's take a look at B. John does not meet the language requirements of the IIVC. This one's pretty, whenever you have a question like this, you should be pretty happy just because you have the language tests page in your test day data book. So we can say he got an IELTS score of band 5 in everything. And all you do is you take a look at that page. You can see that that equates to a CLB 5, which means he does meet those requirements. Let's skip ahead to D. So John does not have experience in the business he will create in Canada, so his application will not be accepted under the IIVC. So when we take a look at this one here, we take a look at the general eligibility of a person under the IIVC. Remember what we saw before. They need that personal net worth. They need that $2 million investment, the language requirements, and of course the educational requirements. There's no mention of their intent in Canada in this, so it's not like the old entrepreneur program or the Quebec entrepreneur program or anything like that. Instead, he has the regular permanent residency requirements. So finally, we'll take a look at C. His $2 million investment is not guaranteed to make a profit. If you remember from the previous lesson, when we took a look at the $2 million investment, you could probably remember that it's not guaranteed. We have those requirements over here of that investment. So remember, it is needed. The person has to submit that money if the application is approved. It's not guaranteed, of course. It will be committed for 15 years, and it will be invested in innovative Canadian startups. You could see that note as well, that they might make money, they might not. It's not guaranteed at all. So that's why with this one here, we can see that this is the correct answer. So his $2 million investment is not guaranteed to make a profit. All right, as always, a big thank you for letting us help you pass the ICCRC Full Skills Exam. As I said before, my name is Kyle Broda, and I'm one of the team members over here at Full Skills Exam Prep. Be sure to take a look at our strategic partners. So we have all of these people as well. They help out RCICs a lot. So you have IDP IELTS, who gives free material, free seminars, free everything for RCICs. You have Integrate Canadian Immigration Services, who are here to help you with any tricky cases you have or anything like that. Scotiabank, of course, is there to help you with your trust account and just helping your clients get their bank accounts sorted and all that as well. And finally, you have RCICCPD.ca, which is your provider for CPD courses.